Despite facing discrimination and systemic barriers restricting access to entrepreneurial opportunities, Black people made significant contributions to business practices that enriched communities across the United States. The National Negro Business League was founded by Booker T. Washington in Boston, Massachusetts in 1900 and became the largest association of Black business people and professionals in the country. The League, which predated the United States Chamber of Commerce by 12 years, strived to enhance the commercial and economic prosperity of the African American community. The National Negro Business League operated conventions in many cities that brought together Black business owners to highlight the work being done locally and nationally. The NNBL conventions helped participants to establish broader business connections and to inspire more African Americans to support ongoing efforts and startup businesses of their own. Each convention featured speakers providing information about the local Black businesses, had an illustrated program outlining the history of Black businesses before NNBL, and advertisements of local Black-owned businesses. Two financial companies, the National Negro Finance Corporation and the Allied Industrial Financial Corporation, grew out of the National Negro Business League, inspiring a rivalry and ambitious goals for each company. The Universal Negro Improvement Association, founded by Marcus Garvey, also advocated for Black community investment and raised millions of dollars to support its programs, businesses, and development projects. It took courage and resilience for African Americans to endure daily discrimination. The need for the establishment of Black businesses increased with segregation because many white businesses refused to serve Black customers. Black-owned businesses provided a wealth of services. Safe customer assistance were located in Black neighborhoods and formed the heart of many communities. Black churches, organizations, and clubs offered support and protection, and the NAACP provided legal assistance. Most businesses were local, small scale, and family run due to the barriers in finding financial backers, loans, and property for rent or purchase. The need for the National Negro Business League and Black-owned financial institutions was critical. Jim Crow legislation restricted access to white-owned financial services and bank options, causing African American businesses to seek alternative options for financing, credit, or to seek out Black-owned banking institutions. Black banks served as a source of credit for businesses and consumers, provided training opportunities and jobs for African Americans, supported economic development and businesses in communities, and were a shelter from discrimination. Jim Crow influenced the ability for Black people to receive fair pay, benefits, and build wealth. In addition, practices such as housing discrimination and redlining prohibited further progress. Despite these conditions, Black businesses flourished, expanding opportunities and encouraging safer spaces to conduct business and to socialize. They also established a sense of solidarity and pride within Black neighborhoods and served as symbols of racial progress.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. What up, Lord Lee Bowens? What up, Erica? Thanks for coming through, America's First Rifleman. And I appreciate y'all for coming through today. You know what I'm saying? Because we definitely got to have this needed conversation. And we get into a lot of BS and conversations that don't really mean anything. And it's time for like a fundamental change in, what we're doing. And, it may not be the adults that change. It may be the kids. But, there's so many bad examples. We don't talk about the good examples. Like my sister that I have here, saying, who's doing great things and and has her business up and coming. So I appreciate my sister Katrina for coming on here. How you doing? Uh,
I'm doing fine. How are you? Thank you for having me.
yeah, thank you for coming. I appreciate you for coming. So yeah, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Your name, about your business. What you do.
My name is Katrina Daly, and I am one of the owners of Tim's and Hills Infrastructure. And the reason why I say infrastructure is because we're not just a truck driving academy, but we're a truck driving company. We're a brokerage. And we also do coaching and consulting for students that come through the school. We train individuals that are interested in getting their Class A or their Class B license. We train them for approximately 20 to 21 days so that they would be successful in going out over the road, and we test them out. But we also help our students find employment as well as employing some of our students.
Yeah. So yeah, and I want to ask you about like class A and class B, and like what you mean by that. But first, like what made you get into like trucking and in the first place?
It started out a little bit as a joke, actually, because I used to be in a motorcycle club, and I used to do a lot of work for some of the guys that was in the club. And I remember one day the president said to me that I could drive trucks, and I took it as a joke. But because he challenged me with it, I decided to give it a try. So I went and I took studied for 1 week. My permit, had no idea what I was studying, but I memorized everything and actually ended up getting my permit, and then from there decided to go ahead to truck driving school. So one I would say one of the major reasons was because I was looking for a career change. Coming from a background of criminal justice, working at the prison for over 15 years, I wanted to do something different, and thought I wanted to be a police officer. But as soon as I finished the academy, decided that that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I would actually say a career change. Wanted something that was different and I could make more money, and actually have a better lifestyle. I would say really was the real reason I decided to go into trucking.
Yeah, and that's a great point. A lot of people want a career change, and maybe for financial reasons or other reasons, or they may like it better. But I hear a lot of people talk about how hard it is to like, especially if somebody who's working, they got a job, they're talking about I got to pay bills, and to make a career change in the middle of that, especially a trucking school where it may not be like for extended period of time, but you got to put in a lot of work, and it's hard to do that while you're working. So like did you find it hard to like when you was switching like careers and stuff like that?
Um, it wasn't that it was hard. It was a little bit different because what I chose to do, some people may choose to go to school part-time. I chose to actually stop working so that I could attend school. So I kind of put a plan, into place. One thing that's really great about attending Tim's and Hills is that we have so many different schedules, because I knew, watching some of the other students that came through with me, I saw the hardship that they were having. Like I said, I sort of pre-planned, so it wasn't as difficult for me. But that was one of the reasons why we put into place where students, we have different programs that the students can go through, as far as the length of time that it takes them, to go to school. But to answer your question, it wasn't very hard for me because I had made up in my mind that I was going to do it.
Yeah, and doing something with a plan, because you definitely want to plan. A lot of us just do things, as they come, and it takes a plan. If you want to make a change, you can't keep doing the same things over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to choosing a school, like how did you know that like what school to choose? Because like some people will be like, well, I chose a school, I didn't pass, I lost my money and stuff. Like how do you know what is a good school and what is a bad school to choose?
Well, for myself, in the beginning, I'm gonna be honest, I did not choose the right school. The first school that I attended, I knew that I was gonna flunk out, because there were a lot of students that were there. of course, going into a male dominated industry, you have some men that did not really believe or feel that a woman should have been driving trucks. So there were, there were some challenges that I faced at that first school. Then once I left, right before I realized I was going to fail, I ended up doing a little bit of research. So for myself, or what I suggest students to do is do research on the school that you want to go to. You want to find a school that there's simplicity. You want to find a place that you're gonna feel safe. And when I say safe, I'm saying as far as, feeling like you could just be your true authentic self, because we all have different things that we may struggle with or that we may deal with. So you want to find a location where your instructors that are teaching you are actually going to treat you the way that you want to be treated. There's this myth that, truck drivers' mouths are filthy, and, we use a lot of profanity and different things like that. All truck drivers are not like that. So I would not go to a school where they're yelling at me. I would not go to a school where I do not feel safe. I would not go to a school that I'm not actually being taught. Look for a school that maybe has smaller classes. Bigger classes are okay. But then I like to go ahead and get through school. So I'm going to look and see, how much time does it take? If I go to a community college, am I willing to go for 10 weeks, a semester basically? Or do I want to go to a school that I can get in and get out, because the whole purpose of going to school is so you can start your career. So I would just do research, research on the school, and I'm going to be honest, pray and ask God to direct you which way to go.
Yeah, and it's difficult to find out, and you, like you said, like we all human, we make mistakes. And like but you mentioned like how long it take, and I was asking you like what's the difference between a class A and a class B? And yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Um, A Class A is where you're driving a truck and a trailer. We call that a combination vehicle. You have over the 26,001 pounds or whatever. So that's what Class A is, where you see the truck and the tractor together. A Class B is actually where you're driving like dump trucks. In some instances, if it's 26,001 pounds, right at 26,001 pounds, it could be a box truck, like a 26-foot box truck. So the difference is, Class A, you have a tractor and a trailer, which is combination. Class B, you only have a truck, is only one unit. You're not actually connecting anything to one another.
Okay, and does either one of them like take longer to get, or is all pretty much the same?
No, it's pretty much the same. Our Class A and our Class B, we run for 160 hours, and that's Monday through Friday. But again, like we said earlier, depending on a student's schedule, we will make adjustments, because we do understand everybody can't stop working. But Monday through Friday, 160 hours, you will be through within those 4 weeks, within those 20 days.
Okay, okay. So how long did it take you to like get your license, and which one did you get?
I went straight for my Class A. I'm just one. I always encourage students maximize whatever it is that you're doing. If it takes 160 hours to get a Class B, you might as well get a Class A, because that Class A is the highest level of license that you can get. There's nothing past a Class A. It's only endorsements that you can do. For myself, the school that I went to, I would have been done in about that 20 days, but it took a little bit longer because during that time we had a bad storm that came through. So it pushed us back with some of our testing. So I still was able to get it done within like maybe a month and a week. So it took me a little bit longer.
Okay, about a month, and that's still not too bad. And in the chat, Lord Lee Brown said, "Can you get both?"
No, you wouldn't need both, because an A allows you to drive any type of vehicle.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, so I would go for the A too. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Now, so once you got it, and then you was first getting out on the road, right? Now, I'm pretty sure it was some stuff that you had to learn the hard way. Like, what is some of the experiences that you got when you first started driving? You know what I'm saying?
What are some of the experiences I did get? I remember one of my first experiences was one of my first loads I took, because being from North Carolina, coming from a small town, I really had never been out there over the road, over the road like that. We always went north and south quarter, south for vacations and north, for the holidays. So I would tell you, one of my, I think, most challenging experiences was when I realized I was in the mountains, but did not know I was in the mountains because it was so dark. So knowing exactly how to come down the mountain, when you've never been in the mountains, I had to understand how to stab my brakes, or rather, press my brakes so that I would not wreck. Those were some of the experiences. I remember it being in Ohio and it was snowing, and I actually went to move. And honestly, it was crazy because school does not teach you everything. School gives you the tools necessary to get out there, but it doesn't teach you everything. And when I went to move on the ice, my trailer started sliding, and realizing I had to actually turn my traction button on. So, it was things like that. Seeing the accidents out there, were some of the experiences that I had never seen before. And I'm gonna be honest, just like anybody else, you get out there, you do crazy stuff. I've knocked down a stop sign here and there, before, because I wasn't paying attention, didn't take my turn wide enough. So those are some of the experiences, that I've had.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting, because some of the things you was talking about, like how the school don't prepare you for like the real elements when you really get out there, and that's an interesting aspect of it. And then on top of that, right? So like you being a woman, and like you mentioned before, like you being a woman out there, driving trucks you everywhere. And by the way, what's like one of the, like, how far have you been? Like, what's one of the best places you've been?
I've done all 48 states. I would say one of the best places, I think, honestly, believe it or not, would be probably Texas. I
Texas.
think Texas is one of the states that I enjoyed the most, but I drove all 48 states.
Okay, and how long are you usually gone?
Um, Normally I'm out there for months at a time. Because my children are grown. So during the time that I was driving, out over the road, I might stay gone 3, 4 months before I come in.
Oh wow, yeah, that's. Go ahead.
Yeah, because see, this is the thing. Remember, when you're looking at having your own business, you see what I'm saying? Like the Bible says, "The much is given, much is required." It's the same way with your business. You have to take that same attitude. So there were things that I chose to do because I knew that I was building an infrastructure. The goal is to corner the market as it relates to transportation. So it was necessary for me to be out there. Now, if I was working for someone else, would I have done that? I'm gonna be honest, I probably would not have done it. But because I'm working for myself, there are a lot of things that I do now that I would not have done, if I was just working for someone as a company driver.
Yeah, I mean that's true, because that's what I was saying earlier about having a goal and a vision. Because if you're just out there just doing it, you're not gonna have the same effort. But you had a vision, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I want to get into the business. But like, just as far as being on the road, you know what I'm saying? As a woman, was there like different like experiences, or like I'm sure it was, but like what was that like?
It was different because I had to adapt to the lifestyle of a trucker. I'm gonna be honest, when you're out there, you're gonna learn how to take a bath with baby wipes. You're not gonna always be able to get to a truck stop bathroom. You see what I'm saying? So for me, that was different. I had to adapt to that type of lifestyle. Honestly, sometimes being, lonely out there because I was away from my family. In my book, I talk about driving wounds, when you're going through a lot of stuff, but you can't do anything but drive and cry because you want to come home, but you're too far to get home because if I'm out in Wyoming or Colorado, I can't just turn around and come home, so yeah.
Yeah, and real quick, you mentioned your book, and let me show this real quick, y'all. The sister got a book, what I'm saying, about her experiences and stuff like this. I am me, I am my experiences, what I'm saying, is on Kindle. You can get it right now. Um So tell me a little bit about like what this is, like what is it about?
For me, I am me. Actually, I believe that when you write something down and you put it on paper, you're releasing it. So in this book, I talk about a lot of the hurdles that I went through, like as far as rejection from people, wanting to please people, feeling like I was a failure because I was a single mom. Even battling. Certain addictions. I talk about these things in the book, and I talk about how I overcame some of those things, although there are parts of my book that I still live now. But the book is just about overcoming, just saying, I am me. My experiences is the reason that I have become the person that I have become today, because I was one of those, a single mom, getting pregnant in high school. I was written off. Everybody thought that I was going to fail, but I was determined that I was not. So those are some of the things that I share, in my book, from the age of 17 of becoming pregnant all the way up until about a year ago, you know, um, working on the truck driving academy to actually get it open.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting, and definitely. So y'all definitely support her with her book. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a great story because like I said, the sister has it. You know what I'm saying? She does what we're talking about doing, but she's out there doing what we're saying. And there's a big field for this, you know what I'm saying? Because it's important you're going to always have a transportation industry. It's going to be needed to transport materials from one place to another, you know what I'm saying? And so in your experiences, like, do you see a lot of like black truck drivers out there?
You do. You see a lot of black truck drivers. You're seeing younger truck drivers. Now I don't know if you're familiar with a few years ago when they made the ELD mandatory, which is basically where you could no longer run the paper logs if you're over the road. You have to use the electronic system. So they're able to monitor your hours better. It's a better, supposed to be a better system for us to be able to keep up with our time. So what happened was a lot of the older drivers that had been driving for years and years and years, they were so used to the logs. They didn't want to do this new system, because it came with a lot of kinks. It came with a lot of, if you go into violation, you're going to end up with penalties and fines and different things like that. So they're bringing new, now what you're seeing is younger drivers. They just passed a law, I want to say last year. 18-year-olds used to only be able to drive in state, in the state that they live in. Now 18-year-olds can go out of state, but they have to have a mentor, another driver with them. And that's actually one of the programs that we offer also, because we're actually a North Carolina apprenticeship through the North Carolina community colleges. So we actually train students as young as 16 years old to become truck drivers. And then we employ them. So you are seeing younger people come out now.
Yeah, that's good. Learning it at a younger age is like is better than getting into it when you're 40 something. You can build something from a younger age and just have the right mindset with it. But so like I understand that a lot of stuff can happen out on the road. Like do y'all get like fined a lot and stuff like that? Because you mentioned like if you do this you could get fined, and like if you make a mistake, like is it a lot of that kind of like strict kind of rules out there?
It is, because you have to remember this: when you're on a semi truck, you're carrying 80,000 pounds. You see what I'm saying? So that's a whole different type of beast that you're dealing with. It's not jumping, in your car or your personal vehicle to drive. So you are seeing a lot of the fines. They are pretty strict with them. I, for myself personally, I've had a fine as small as like 500 and some dollars to a fine as much as over $2,000. And there are some truckers that I've heard say they've had to pay penalties of $10,000. So the fines are very, very expensive. This is why, if you do decide to go into trucking, you definitely need to make sure that you're safe. Be safe and just follow the rules and regulations. It's easier to follow a rule and be safe than to break a rule and then have to pay all this money.
Yeah, that's words of wisdom right there. So like, and by the way, let me ask you this: like, while you were out there, did you have like any form of protection, or did you have to like be aware of the states you was in? Like if you did, you know, you don't got to get too specific or nothing like that.
Um, Yes, you do, because let's just be honest, racism is still out there, so you do have to be mindful of some of the cities that you go into. Now, did I experience any disrespect out there? No, I'm gonna be honest. Even as a female truck driver, I did not experience any disrespect. But could I tell that there were some people that was prejudiced, that did not want me to be around? Even not just the prejudice, even again, some men that just didn't feel like a woman should be driving a truck, that basically I was, in a whole nother lane. So you do have to be mindful, or rather I did have to be mindful of the states I go in. Did I have protection? Yes, I did, because when I went out, and this is another thing, you would have to check with your company to see what their rules and their regulations are. See, when I went in as an owner op to the company that I went to. So I never actually have experience being a company driver. I quickly, because entrepreneurship runs in my family. So when I went out, my mind was geared towards, I want to have my own truck. I went out there with the intention of, I'm going to own my own truck in 2 years. But when I really put my mind to it, I actually got my truck within 6 months of being out there, because the truck I was leasing, they said that you could take the truck someplace else. As long as it was FMCSA approved. So I never really had an opportunity to be a company driver. So going back to what your question was, you would need to check with your company to find out if what their rules are. Because for myself, yeah, I had a gun. Yes, I had a bat. Yes, I had a hammer. But I was driving for myself, so it makes a difference. And you do want protection out there, some type, if it's nothing but a baseball bat, because it's real out there. When you being in North Carolina compared to going out west, that's a whole different type of beast out there. And a lot of times we think we're ready for it, but we're not. Like this, the street life that we have here versus some of the street life that I rode through up there, whole different type of beast. So I did have protection, when I was over the road.
Yeah, I think that's something important to realize, because a lot of people don't realize until, like, they may meet one person that do them dirty, but they don't realize the type of world that we're living in. And some people feel like they can, it's important to practice the Second Amendment. You know what I'm saying? If especially when you're out there on the road for months at a time, going through, who knows what. You could go through like a hood somewhere, then go through like, some farmland in Iowa somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy out there, and I'm sure the sister, has a lot of stories. Um, but so you got Trucking Hills, Tim's and Hills Trucking Academy. What made you even want to open up your own trucking school?
There were several reasons. Truthfully, one of the reasons was because once I got out there over the road, although I went to an awesome school, I realized that there were a lot of things that they did not prepare me for, and I saw a lot of drivers out there, honestly, making a lot of mistakes, so that was my experience too. My experience was seeing what they did caused me not to do, made me realize some things that I did not need to do. So realizing that is really important. Like I would be out there and I'm like, dang, this dude just did this. Like we really need real training, So that was one of the reasons. Another reason was because I saw the money that I was making, and I saw how easy it really, really is in trucking. If you put your mind to it, and you really, really want to do it, and you have, I'm gonna be honest, just common sense. It does not take a college education. I'm very big on education, but it does not take a high school diploma. It does not take a GED. If you have common sense and can make good judgment, be able to respond and react and be safe, you can drive trucks. So that was the other reason I wanted to take something back to, honestly, my family, because I have a lot of young cousins and older cousins that have gotten in a lot of trouble, that have killed people out there in the street selling drugs or whatever, felt like they couldn't do any better. So I did this also for my extended family, as well, and for the community, because for me, trucking is a passion. You know how they say, like, riding motorcycles is a lifestyle. Trucking is a lifestyle for me. So I did this for every person that's on the phone now, that's on the radio. broadcast now that actually wants to do something different. I'm gonna be honest. I did this for you. This is why I did this, because it's overrated. You know, I remember when I first started and wanted to get my MC number, and I was told you had to get an authority. Everybody was making everything so complicated for me. So I needed to be able to create a program that offers simplicity so that I can show some of the young adults, the ones that's coming up after us, because eventually my generation will be gone. So it's younger ones to show you how to be successful, how to be able to make real money, good money. And it's not hard. It's not. So that's really, because I wanted to be able to offer something back, to our community, and like I said, because, I knew that quality training was needed, because getting out there driving trucks, these accidents are real. People really can lose their lives if they don't know what to do. So those are the reasons why I opened up a trucking academy. And also it's a ministry. It's a ministry for me as well.
Yeah, and and like you said, you came from nothing and you got your own company and you got out there and you hustled to go and get it, you know what I'm saying? And there's no excuses for none of us to go and do this. Now, like you was telling me before, like what is some of the things that make your company different from, like, even just the fact what you just said, it was enough, you know what I'm saying? But what you were saying, like you was telling me before, like what is some of the things that make your company different from other
From other
companies?
countries. Um, I would say that we're licensed for 46, but we do small classrooms because we like to do that one-on-one, because we know that everyone learn differently. I've seen some students come in 20 days, they ready to go. They graduate on the 21st day. But I've had some students that honestly have stayed as long as 2, 3 months, before they were actually ready. So what makes us different is that, one, um, if we see that you have the potential to do it, but you may be struggling with it a little bit, we don't put you out. We continue to work with you. No, we're not going to work with you for 6 months to a year. That's entirely too long. But we do have a remedial policy in place to where if you are struggling beyond that 160 hours, that we will continue to work with you. Like I said, the classroom size is small. Our instructors, everyone that work with you, this is a passion and a ministry for them. So not only we don't look at it as a job, we look at it as something that we enjoy, doing. Another thing that we do a little bit differently, is that understanding that everybody cannot stop working. So there are times what we do is we look at each person individually. So let's say if someone comes and say, well, look, I have to work, these days because this is what I have going on. We look at that situation, and a lot of times, not all the time, because we can't accommodate everybody's schedule. It would drive the instructors crazy. But what we try to do is find a medium where we still can allow the students and work with their schedule so they can come to school. Then again, 20 days. 20 days that's nothing for the investment that you're making. Like, you're making a life changing decision, when you decide that you want to get your truck. So those are some of the things that we do. Plus, we cover our students. I'm just going to be honest, because this day and time, with the way the world is, everybody needs to be covered. We cover our students. We pray with our students. We mentor, we coach our students when they come through. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. Those are some of the things that make our school, to make our school different. It's real. We love doing what we do.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I got a couple more questions, but let me show this. As you was mentioning some of your students, and let me see here. This is some of the classes that some of your students here, uh getting instruction. I just want to show a few of them, um, so how many teachers do you have?
We have a total of 3 licensed instructors, but believe it or not, we have a lot of our students that come back that actually volunteer to assist us with the classes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so yeah, I just wanted to show a couple of things with your students. I don't know if you wanted to say something about that, but like I said, I got a couple more questions. You wanted to say something about that though, about your students?
A lot of our students that came through, really they wanted to drive, but they thought that they weren't going to be able to do it. But to date, we have graduated about 38 students, and that was actually students that I myself and my business partner, that we actually taught. So, considering we were very small last year, we did really, really well. All of the students walked away with a job. Some of the students came through, went straight out afterwards and got their truck. So we have really seen a very, very good success, from our students that's been to Tim's and Hill Structured Academy.
Yeah, that's really good. So like and I wanted to ask you, as far as the academy, because something that you mentioned when we was talking before about how you had to realize, like your worth and the worth of your company, and how sometimes when you try to give stuff away or do all of these things, it can bite you, you know what I'm saying, and helping the people that really wants to be helped and that shows what they want to do. So, could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. Sometimes when you're in business and you're providing a service, you get super excited, because you want people to come, you want them to like your services. And what I was explaining, or rather what our conversation was, is that I had to learn to put a value on myself. Because when I thought about it, when I look at some of the things that I did last year as an entrepreneur, it really was not the best thing to do, because I wanted people to come through. So I did not, if students weren't able to pay, there were times that, we still kind of brought the students through on what we called a scholarship, but it actually was free because we were actually, providing the service for no charge. But then what I realized is that free does not have a value on it because it doesn't cost anything. So I had to realize that for myself, I had to like rethink, reset, reboot my mind and understand that I have to put a value on myself. And this is what I tell my students now when they come to school. This investment is you putting a value on yourself. People say, well, school is too high, school is too much. No, because think about it. If you want to go buy a car, you know how to put your money up so you get that car. If you just honestly, you'd probably be surprised at how much we save when we don't buy cigarettes, when we don't smoke liquor, when we don't, I mean, drink liquor, I'm sorry, when we don't eat out, so this right here, this is an investment that you're making, in yourself, so I encourage everyone that, even if it's not the trucking industry, whatever you want to go into, always remember to put a value on who you are. Because what I find is that when you do, people are going to respect you and look at you differently. Because sometimes free is not always good when you're giving products away, because people don't appreciate it. So you definitely have to put a value on yourself. And even as an entrepreneur, we're not perfect. So I had to learn to put a value on myself. This is why we do not do free. We just do payment plan. That's it.
Yeah, facts. And it's important to value yourself, your works, your services, whatever it may be. And you also, like this sister who puts in the time and effort, and that's the point of like how she gives back to her students, she works with her students. It's a community effort, you know what I'm saying? One hand washes the other. Like we need each other to do this, you know what I'm saying? Now, this sister made it to the point where she can be her own boss, you know what I'm saying? So like, yo, because I want to ask you about both sides of this. So I'm not sure which one you want to start with the positives or the negatives, because there's a lot of work, and not necessarily that is negative, but it's a lot of work that comes with being your own boss. But there's also a lot of positive things. So like, I'm not sure which one, either one you think should be first, like the positive or the negatives about being your own boss.
Um, I don't look at negatives. That's a word that I try to stay away from. I say challenges that we may go through. Um, I would say one of the biggest things, depending on for myself, would have been the finances. I did something that you can do, but I don't all the time recommend people jump out there and do it. And that is when I was determined that I was ready to start my business, I had no operating capital at all. So I jumped out there off of faith saying I'm going to start this business because I was determined. That's just my personality. But I would say some of the challenges, especially being a new business, because you're providing a service, you're relying on providing that service, being able to provide that service, which will allow income to come in so that you can pay your bills. So I would say that's one of the challenges. Another challenge, honestly, I can't remember exactly how I told you this the other day, but another challenge I would say has been being Black and being a female. But I will be honest, I'm not going to say that it comes just from one race. I think I've experienced that as a challenge from just people in general, male and female. That would be a challenge as well. The positives would be knowing that I'm working for myself. There is a different, when you become your own boss, it's a different feeling that you get. You're not going to give up on you. I still get up every day, whether I have a student or not. I get up, I put on clothes like I'm going to a regular job, whether I have students or not. So being my own boss, actually being able to see what you built from the ground up. Those are some of the positives, that I see. I'm gonna be honest. Another positive, can't nobody fire me. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because it is what it is. It feels good that when I go into meetings and it may be something that I'm requesting from someone, the only thing they can do is tell me yes or no. I'm not gonna fire myself. Those are some of the positives. Just knowing that I'm providing a service that allows people to be better people, because I didn't feel like I had anybody. Well, no, let me not say that, because I did have people that pushed me, but I knew what I needed. So based off of what I knew that I needed to be pushed to the next level, that's another plus, for myself in being my own boss. I'm telling you, it's rewarding. It is very, very rewarding. And I will tell you all, if you all want to drive trucks and you believe that you can do it, get out of your head what people are telling you. Do your own research. I did it. If I did it, you all can do it too. I'm telling you, you can. I'm not going to say every day is going to be easy. I'm not going to say it was days that I was like, shoot, do I really want to do this? I'm not going to say it was days that I did not want to get out the bed. But I will tell you this, giving up has never been an option for me since I've been my own boss. But I would give up when I go hit that clock, because if I didn't want to work for somebody, I quit. If I wasn't feeling the job no more, I knew my time was up. That's what I did. I quit. But you will not quit on yourself. Not when you have your own business. It's a different feeling. And it makes you feel so proud and accomplished, because we need to feel that way about ourselves. We don't need to look for validation from anyone else. But being your own boss, it gives you a sense of accomplishment like never, ever before. And you all can do it. You all want to drive trucks, call Tim's and Hills Trucking Academy. If you want to own your own company, call Tim's and Hills Trucking Academy. We're very big on relationships. We do not turn our students away once they're finished school. We're always going to be a resource for you. In some cases, we'll be a liaison for you. In some cases, we're going to completely be your voice for you. As long as we see that you're trying, it has nothing to do with age. I've had some people that's come to me, to guide and coach them and assist them into going into trucking, that was older than me. The same way I've had some that was younger, that was younger than I am, but being your, I can't say it enough, being your own boss is gonna give you this sense of accomplishment, kind of like in the Bible it says that God to give you that peace that surpasses understanding. This is that accomplishment that surpasses understanding. So those are some of the challenges, that I face, and then some of the positive things in being my own boss.
Man, yeah, that was a great answer. That was a great answer. And look, I don't want to like hold your time, so I got a couple more questions, but I want to show a couple more things, and if you want to talk about it, it's you and your truck, you know what I'm saying? Um, here's your like one of your trucks here, this is your and here it is, I think I had the I'm not sure if I had this one right. So this is like, training, I guess, learning or just hooking up to a trailer with the system. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen, am I?
I can see it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so yeah, and look, a couple more Tim's and Hill's Trucking Academy. And by the way, and because we're gonna do it again at the end, but our number, if you wanna get an 877 for my CDL, and you could give them your email right now because we're gonna do it at the end, but it can't hurt repeating it.
Okay. Yes, the well he gave you the phone number 877 for my CDL 7, and just push extension 1. There will be a recruiter that will be waiting to speak to you all. The email is admin at timsandhillstrucks.com. So that's admin, ADMIN, the at symbol, Tims, TIMBS, and AND, Heels, HEELS, Trucks, TRUCKS.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some of the pictures the sister had, so yeah, I showed these. So and another thing that I did want to ask you though, something important that you mentioned, when you was talking about, especially when you're doing business, being able to walk away when it's time to, what I'm saying, you can, and not have to worry about it, what I'm saying. So like, could you talk a little bit about being able to walk away? You mentioned a little bit when you was talking about knowing your worth, but I think that's an important point that you was making there, because I was feeling you on that one.
Yes, well, in being able to walk away from a job, because I know the reality is, you have to work to pay your bills. But what I will tell you is that being able to walk away for me was a conscious decision that I really wanted to do something different. I knew that every day again was not going to be like the best day or the easiest days, but I was willing to deal with whatever challenges that arose, because what I could do, that old saying about the light on the at the end of the tunnel. I'd already seen the light and built the house, if that makes sense in my mind. So being able to walk away, actually is going to begin as a thought. I'm telling you, there would be some sacrifices that you have to make, and I would say, don't try to rush it, but don't procrastinate with it either. Take one thing at a time. One thing that has allowed me to be successful in my business, although I've made a lot of mistakes now. I have gone bankrupt more than one time. These are true stories. When you hear people say they go bankrupt, you do go bankrupt. Your account do go into negative, but you also see that positive eventually also. But for myself, um, one thing as an entrepreneur, I always believe in working my own business. So a lot of times people want to go into business, they want to get rich overnight. Nothing happens overnight. The old saying, Rome was not built overnight. You're not going to 100% build your business. I am still building my business now. I will continue to build my business probably until, honestly, until I retire, or I leave this earth. But what I'm doing is I'm making it better each time. Take baby steps. Always, especially if okay, one day I want to have a truck. The first thing is to get your license. To make the decision if you want to get your license, and then attend Tim's and Hill's Trucking Academy. Then after that, you may decide that you do want to go work with someone just to get the experience, or you may want to go ahead and buy your own truck. But going back to the question that you asked, walking away, for me was a conscious decision. It was the decision that I wanted something better, and I knew I could do it, and I knew it was not every day was not going to be easy. But because I had made up in my mind that this is what I wanted to do, I was able to push forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, because I got like two more quick questions for you, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. And then I don't know if you want to take, and if anybody got questions, you want me to put the link out there for anybody to come on. Do you have time to do that, or?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'll put the link in. You be respectful and all of that stuff. Now, like, cause one of the things that we was talking about, how is your company growing? I got a shout out to Consider Cheek for introducing me to you, and a lot of the things that she's doing, a lot of things that you're doing, because you learn how to use partnerships. You work with different organizations with like how you was telling me how your drivers get to stay at certain places or something like that if you get a contract and stuff like that. So like, I'm interested in that. And like, also it's kind of a double question. So it's really like three questions, I guess, because I want to talk about how your company growing, but like also just connections and working with other organizations. It like not necessarily it got to be black or whatever. I'm just saying like how you use business and economy and working with partners and making it easier for yourself. So could you touch on that a little bit? And I'm gonna put the link in the chat.
Yes, for the company, we're growing as far as the partnerships, as you say it, and the relationships that we are building, like Casidra, her organization. We're in partnership with them to where she recommends students come through the school. Her foundation assists with finding funding, for the students to come through. She feeds her students. She's making sure that the housing, she was a part of that as well, because students that come from the Greensboro area, it's expensive to drive back and forth, so we've partnered with the local hotel that will actually accommodate the students while they attend the school. NC Works, unemployment, as I mentioned before, the apprenticeship program. Our business is growing because what we're doing is we're actually partnering with people. We realize more than ever last year that relationships are very, very important. So through in these relationships that we built with meeting people and going into meetings with them, it's allowing us to have a partnership, with them as well. But we do offer housing for those students that's from out of town that may not want to drive back and forth. We pick you up from the hotel in the morning. We take you back to the hotel after school. We even set up accommodations so that those students that may need to go to the grocery store, because in your room it will have the stove, the microwave, and the refrigerator. We wanted it to be as much like home, like a home away from home for those 4 weeks that you are at the school. So we take you to the grocery store as well. And there are times periodically that the school provides lunch for the students also, because understanding when you're not working, that means you're not making money. And eating out can be expensive, not have, so we try to do as much as we can to hold our students responsible, but to try to provide the accommodations so that your journey while you're at Timms and Hills Trucking Academy will be as stress-free as possible and enjoyable as possible.
Yeah, that's and that's really good, and yeah. So if anybody got any questions for you can definitely come on here and ask any questions. Hopefully, Cassandra got a chance, and hopefully she can come on. Um, so like one of the last main questions, I want to ask for anybody do come on here though. I want to ask you is like for young children who are inspiring or looking to get into business, it could be specific to trucking, but just in business in general, like what is one of the most important things you would tell them, or like what is something that you think they should know? It don't got to be one thing, but just just from your experience, what is some of the most important things that they need to know?
I'm gonna go back to mindset, because everything begins with a thought, having the right mindset, understanding that when you go into business, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm not saying this would be this way for everybody, but for myself, if I'm going to open up a business, especially a trucking business, I'm going to have to know that it's something that I want to do. That is more than just me wanting to open up a business to make money. If that's the only reason that you're going into trucking, is just to make the money, I'm not saying that you won't be successful. But what happens when some of those challenges arise? If you're not, those challenges arise if you're not enjoying yourself. Good credit is very, very important. Planning is very, Very important, because what happens is once you start your business, you will need funding, and in order to get funding, you do need good credit. I'm gonna be honest. When I first started, mine was not exactly where it needed to be, so that was a challenge for me. That's why I said funding, was a major challenge. Making sure that you do the research on what it is that you want to do, but most importantly, understanding that you have to be able, it is essential for you to be able to work any aspect of your business. So if you do want to be an entrepreneur, understanding that you need to put the work in first, because no one's going to see your vision like you see it. No one's going to go harder for you like you are. And again, pray. Ask God to give you direction, because that's what has sustained us and has kept us doing this journey of Tim's and Hills Trucking Academy. It has been prayer, not the money, prayer. So those are some of the things: good credit, a positive mindset, determination, perseverance, things that we hear about all the time. If you really, really want to do it, I'm telling you all, listen to what I'm saying. If you really, really want to be your own boss and be an entrepreneur, you can do it. You can, because I did it. Nobody showed me how to do this, but my determination is what got me to this point. And any of you all, again, I will keep saying it, that want to go into trucking. If you all contact me, we're going to make it happen. Now, let's look at the challenge. Some people, I've seen people that want to do trucking, but it's not for them. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that every single person always will drive a truck, but I do believe this: if you really put your mind to it, and you really say that you want to do it, I know that you can do anything that you want to do. I did it with no money, and look at what I accomplished. Was every day an easy day? No, but I did it. I did not give up. And that's what I would tell you all. Positive mindset. Know it's what you want to do. I'm going to say it again. Your mindset, knowing what you want to do. You want to try to have good credit. You want to pre-plan and plan and think things out. Don't move too quick. Don't try to be bigger than you are. Despise not your small beginnings, and you'll be able to do it. I promise you, you will. This is what I do know for sure. I don't make a lot of promises, but I know if you have those and put God first, or at least pray, and ask whoever you do pray to guide you. In my case, is God or whatever. If you do those things, I guarantee you can make it. I guarantee you can make it.
Yeah, all facts right there, and like I said, man, and let me show this one more time. This is the sister's book, and her company, Tim's and Hills, and her book, I Am Me, I Am My Experiences, and she gave us a little bit about the experiences and how she came from that point where, she had not, but she did what she had to do to create that business. So it's no excuses that you could have, it's just, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do? And so she that did what she had to do, and she's a great example. And like I said, if y'all got any questions, we are about to wrap it up soon. But um, was it worth it, or was all of this worth it to do what you have done today?
Yes, I will say that it was definitely worth it, even with some of the challenges that I deal with. You know, sometimes or whatever, because I'm telling you, it's never going to be 100% perfect, but it definitely was worth it. And another thing too that I've learned to do as an entrepreneur, I take something that's negative. Oops, I said negative. I'm sorry. I take something that's a challenge.
And that's a great
And
point. That's a great point, by the way.
yes, I take something that's a challenge, and I turn it around to look for what I learned out of it. And I found that that works for me, and just my everyday life, as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and yeah, you definitely corrected me on that. Just that it's not negative, it's challenges, you know what I'm saying, because this is about the mindset and the words that you use. And you see, like, successful people use certain terminologies and they don't use certain terminologies, but they also deal in reality. So I appreciate everything that you had to say. Like, I mean, I could go on. I just don't want to hold up your time, because I want to hear more about I could talk to you just about your experiences on the road. So, but I know you want to come next time, but it's already been an hour. But I really thank you about that. And is anything you want to say? Just that you feel like should get out there. Any words that or any message that you think needs to be said, because I think that you have an important message.
I would say that for anyone that maybe feel like you can't, you may feel like it might be too hard. You may be saying I want to do it, but I don't know if I can. I will tell you all again that you can do it. I will also tell you this, that if you feel like no one believes in you and that you don't have enough faith or trust within yourself, let me tell you, I do. I tell you that wholeheartedly, even though I do not know any of you all or whatever. Trucking is a very lucrative business. With trucking, you will always have a job. Now, it may not be sometimes the job or the company you want to work for. Now, I will say that, but trucking, you will always have a job. There's so many avenues in the transportation industry. And if you talk about financial freedom, you talk about, you don't want to be broke for the rest of your life. You want something that you can retire from, that if you manage your money and you do what you're supposed to do, you're talking to your coach now. Because if you decide to do it, anybody on this call or that hears this that does not do it, it's because they do not want to. Because I'm telling you, I'm here. I'm here to assist you. I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to pamper you. I'm going to hold you responsible and accountable, but I'm here. I coach to make sure you have the clarity and all of the tools necessary to start your business when you're ready. I'm an instructor, so I start at the very beginning and I teach you how to drive trucks. And I'm not teaching you something that I don't do myself. Everything that I've taught students that have come through, or any of my clients that have gone into trucking or started their own businesses or whatever. And I thank God that every one of them have been successful. For me, that's a blessing. I always made sure that I taught them what I learned. And I tell people that when someone's teaching you something, when you decide that you want to learn something, or you want to start a business, go to someone that you know is actually doing it, not just saying that they're doing it. Because you have people that are saying, I will tell you this, in the trucking industry, there is a lot of money to be made, but I'm going to give you the real part about it. You may not always make the check that you want to make that week. Sometimes you will get to lows and they're not road ready. There will be times that it's going to just be bogus stuff that's going on out there. Those are some of the challenges that you would deal with as a truck driver. But the rewarding part is that you're making a paycheck and you're working your way to a different type of financial freedom, whether it's box trucks, dump trucks, big rigs. It does not matter. The money's out there to be made. So, unless you just don't want to do trucking, that's different if you have no interest in it. But if you have an interest in it and you choose not to do it, it's because you chose not to, because you have someone that's willing to work with you, that's willing to talk to you, to build a relationship, to coach you into being a successful truck driver, that will always be a resource for you as long as you're trying. So that's about all that I have. I will tell you, Considerous Foundation, um, NC Works. We have loans, a loan program that's in place. So we do have different funding sources, for our students. So I always tell my students, if you really have an interest in attending Timms and Hills Trucking Academy, do not worry so much about, well, how am I going to pay for it? Just contact us and let us help you work that part out. And again, our classes are 20 days. If we see, we do small class numbers because we like to do one-on-one, more one-on-one, because students learn at different levels. So 20 days, you pretty much be ready to go. Everything is in-house. For us, it's like a one-stop shop. We're more than just trucking. We're a community, of instructors, CDL, compliance, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers. So it's a whole group. You have a community, community organizations, that will be right there, with you to help you. So if you want to do it, we're here for you. That's pretty much all I have, to leave with you all tonight.
Man, yo, that was really good, and I appreciate you for coming on here. And I gotta like have you on here again because I want to hear about like some stuff. I want to ask you now. I just don't want to take up your time, but I know you like the story. Like you might have a week where it's just two loads and they're not truck ready, or just crazy stuff that happened on the road that stuff that you got to get used to. So like that's a whole nother conversation. So I definitely want to have you on here to talk about that and like to have your bit, all the updates with your business and how it keeps growing. And then, like I said, if you want to get in contact with her, and um, I want to say it again, in her bio is well, her number is 877 for my CDL7, and I'll let her say it because she can definitely say it better than me. So, and
The number is 877 for my CDL7 and push extension 1. And as I stated before, there will be a recruiter, one of our recruiters that will be waiting to speak with you. If you would like to email me, the email is admin@timsandhillstrucks.com, ADMIN, the at symbol, Tims, TIMBS, and AND, Heels, HEELS, Trucks, TRUCKS.com.
I just I just put it in the chat. So if you want to get in contact with her, what's the best way to do it? By email or by you know?
Um, either way, it's I prefer the phone call because with the phone call, I'm gonna get I will get it immediately. And please, 8 to 5 business hours. You'd be surprised at how many calls I get after hours. So, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. If you do need to call or email me, if it needs to be after hours, but I'm in the email periodically, as well. But I prefer the phone call.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, give this sister contact, even if you have some kind of business that may can connect with hers, or if you have a company or something that you wanna whatever, that can help each other out, so y'all connect with each other. And definitely connect with Consider Cheek Realm in the Bush at gmail.com. I gotta put that in the chat. But yo, thank you so much for coming on here, Katrina. I think this was like a great interview, and there was a lot of good things that I wanted. There's a lot of more stuff that I wanted to talk about, just about business and about trucking. But this was a great interview, and I appreciate giving your time because I know you're busy. So thank you.
Yes, and again, thank you for having me. You said it was going to be fun, and it was. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of y'all for listening. Make sure y'all contact with her, and the thing is, we need to see people like her out there doing it, and she's not just talking, she's living it. And you see the work ethic that she has, and the work ethic that it takes, and it's important for the younger generation to know that and to see that, and that anybody can get out there and do it, so there's no excuses, you know what I'm saying? And this included for myself because I needed it for motivation. So yeah, thank you again, Katrina, and hopefully you're gonna come back. So
Yes, I would love to.
yeah, all right, so thank you, and thank all of y'all. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.